Hey, what's going on? It's Stranger, and welcome to another YouTube music production video where my mission is to help you succeed in making music. And today we're gonna remake one of my teen favorites. It's Ed Rush and Optical's Bacteria. Now, Ed Rush and Optical have made countless drum and bass hits. Their early tracks, including tracks on their label Virus Recordings and their album Wormhole, really pioneered what would become neural drum and bass. Now, I've been wanting to figure out the Bacteria bass for years now, and I finally figured it out when I read a comment either on Facebook or on YouTube which referenced the original sample which was used to create the Bacteria bass. So whoever wrote that comment out there, thank you for the tip. Unfortunately, I can't find the comment, so I can't reference right now, but I do appreciate it, and it's what I love about this community where we can learn from each other. But comment down below and let me know what is your favorite Ed Rush and Optical track. And if you want to get more content like this, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share buttons. Without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is work on the drum section of Bacteria. Now, I'm at 173 beats per minute. However, you could make it a bit slower if you like. 170, I think, is also fine. Now, the drum break is from the Gotta Make Me Funky break by the Headhunters. Now, you can find it for free at Rhythm Lab, and I'll leave a link down below so you can find it. They've cut the break into 3 sections. The first section is this, where you get a clear recording of the kick, snare, and hi-hats. And then part 2 and 3 adds a conga loop on top. So the one that Ed Rush and Optical used is either part 2 or 3. I'm using part 3. And the great thing about these Rhythm Lab files is they're pre-cut for you as RX2 files. So you can right click on them and then slice to MIDI. And it'll send it to a MIDI track in Ableton. Now here's the break, and I'm using the very first bar of the break. However, you could explore and try the other sections of the break. I just found this one sounded good. Now, due to the tempo of our track, the snare might sound closed off. So I found it sounded better if you opened up the snare by stretching the slice. Now, you could explore the other snare slices. There may be better sounding ones. Like this one sounded pretty nice and snappy. Now, this is optional. You could quantize the break if you like, or you could keep it loose and funky. I'm going to go for a quantized sound for a more straight sound. The reason why I'm doing this is I have other percussion which I want to line up with the break, so that's why I'm quantizing it. And then I added some saturation to bring out the break. And then some EQ to bring out the highs and mids to make it real snappy. There is some stereo depth to this break, and you could leave that intact. However, I just wanted everything to be in the center. So I used the utility and set everything to mono. It's really up to you. And then I added this parallel aggressor plugin, which helps bring out the break. It uses some algorithms to create some parallel compression. It's just really slight. And then there's a Tambourine Loop. So Ed Rush and Optical used this to really make the break a little more funky and give it a little more energy. Then there's this rim shot with some reverb. It's just playing this pattern. All right. Now on to the fun part. Let's play with the bass. So the bass in Bacteria is actually sampled from an old school industrial techno track from the early 90s by Disintegrator. It's called Disintegrated, and you can just pull the track in. I can't play it to you for copyright reasons. However, if you just look at the waveform, you can find the breakdown where the bass is in solo, so you can find a section to loop. It's pretty much this section here. So you can crop that. So I pulled the sample right into Ableton Sampler. Now, I found that I needed to loop the sample to play it an extended length. So under sustain mode, hit this 2 arrow thing, which will create a loop. And then all you do is find the loop section. And we want to loop this area here, which plays a constant note. Now to create a perfect seamless note, another way to do it as opposed to finding a 0 point is just using this crossfade function. And that creates a fade between the start and end of the sample to create a seamless loop. So that's an awesome and quick way to loop a sample. So this is the sequence that Ed Rush and Optical used for Bacteria. Now we're going to have to apply some effects processing to make it sound more like the Bacteria version. So I'm using Serum Effects to apply some distortion. To really bring out that raciness of that bass sample. And then I added an audio effect to create this high-low split to split the bands between the low frequencies and high frequencies. And that way I can add some effects processing on the high end and leaving the low end intact. Now I have given this rack for free before, so I'll leave a link down below so you can grab it. But basically on the low section, I have the lows filtered out and I added some compression and mono the bass signal. I'll just turn those off so you can hear it on its own. The mono just ensures the sample is in the center. You want those low frequencies in the center. And then on the high section, I'm adding some additional distortion using Ableton's amp. And then I have an auto filter set to the bandpass mode. So this keeps only the center frequencies. And I'm modulating these frequencies. So in the frequency section, you can right click and show automation, and then you can automate the clip. So this automation where it rises up and then does this wah wah thing and then rises up for that second note. And then of course there's that EQ to remove the low end. We don't need the low end as we have the low end on its own as a separate band. Then to fatten this up, there's a phaser, and I've turned off the auto filter so you can hear the phaser on its own. Now the main secret to the Bacteria bass is that there is a flanger on the top end of the bass to make it sound like it's talking. So the main trick with this is setting the LFO rate of the flanger to 2 bars, and I'm setting the modulation amount at 100%. And the flanger settings is at 4 milliseconds at 0.8 feedback. I just found that those settings gave me the closest result to the Bacteria bass. Now just note the phaser is also using a 2-bar rate on its LFO, and we're using this sawtooth shape that goes downward. And my phaser is at 2 kilohertz with 0.99 feedback. Now the combination of the flanger, of the auto filter doing the wah wah is how it makes it sound like it's almost talking. Okay, so let's hear it all together with the drums. right, so that was my rendition of Ed Rush and Optical's Bacteria. Now, this was the closest I could get it to using Ableton's flanger effect. I think the flanger is pretty integral to the sound. So I want to open it up to the community and let me know down in the comments, how did you guys do? I want you guys to explore and experiment. There may be other flanger effects out there that could give us a better result, and let us know what flanger effect you're using and what settings are you using to get the result. Hopefully we can all learn from each other from this one and get even better results. Now, I did do a little update to it and I added some new school drums to it. Now, I'm using this snare from the Vitae Lupus snare pack, and I'll leave a link down below so you guys can check it out if you want to grab it. But there's 140 different snare samples, and this is one of the best modern snare packs I've heard in a while. They've got some really punchy and snappy snares that are great for new school style drum and bass, especially neuro sounding stuff, even rollers. So some really good snares in here. I'm just scraping through the surface on here, but I encourage you guys to check it out. Again, there's a link down below if you're interested in grabbing it. But pretty much created a new school beat with the snare. And let's hear it with the Bacteria bass. And then I found this little vocal loop here from the Cashmere pack on Splice. Alright, so that was pretty much my take on Ed Rush and Optical's Bacteria. Once again, shouts out to Ed Rush and Optical, who are one of the legends of drum and bass, have made countless tracks and really pushed the envelope of bass design and drum and bass music in general. Alright, so that was my take on Ed Rush and Optical's legendary track, Bacteria. Now, one of the key things is finding that sample, and once you have the sample, then doing some interesting processing with distortion, filtering, and flanging is what does the trick. And once again, this was the closest that I could get to it. It's not perfect, I do admit it. This is where I want to open up to the community and let me know how you guys did and what effects or what flanger settings did you use to get it to the result that you wanted. And guys, if you're learning and you want more support, I encourage you guys to join my Discord community where you can meet fellow like-minded producers. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Keep practicing, and I'll see you at the next video. By the way, if you want to support me, you can buy my Jungle production kit. Also, my Liquid production kit is out now, and you can check it out all in the link below.